Inside the dust-choked Temple of Ra, a heavily accented voice snarls in broken English from inside the temple's Holy of Holies, "Drop your weapons or the girl dies." You answered the ultimatum with deception and daring. Jack sprinted up the rubble, vaulted onto the granite roof, hauling Hank up beside him. Grant tossed a knife to clatter on the floor to sell the surrender. Max dropped his blade, but kept a revolver ready. Pikey called out, "You'd brought the ceremonial dagger to trade for Leila's life." Jack broke the deadlock. He swung from the lip, feet first through the opening, his boots hammering one thug onto a stone slab with a skull-cracking impact. Inside were another man and Leila, bound and gagged. Max tried to line up a shot but didn't dare take it because of the people in the way. Pikey produced a pomegranate he had taken from the restaurant above, mimed pulling a pin, and hurled it into the chamber with a shout, "Grenade!" The knife clattered from the tough's hand as he instinctively caught the fruit. Hank dropped in and barged the man, buying space. Jack seized Leila by the elbow and spun her clear in a smooth, ballroom-crisp pivot, then drove a blade up for the tough's chin, just wide. Max stepped forward through the throng, revolver leveled inches from the man's face. Pikey, eyes locked on the last standing foe, coolly crushed the life from the dazed one on the slab as an example of what could happen next. Hank secured the frightened survivor in a lock. In moments, Leila had been freed. At your prompting, Leila spoke Arabic to the man, and under your menaces, he told what he knew. He had been hired by a sharply dressed Swiss embassy man, likely Johann Schmidt. Leila added she'd been using the dagger as bait to expose the real conduit for stolen artifacts, the deceased Colonel Harrington, and had met with Schmidt to try and determine his interest in the matter. Unmoved by his willingness to talk, Hank snapped the captive's neck. You collected 6 Egyptian identity cards, some cash, a French M1892 revolver, and a handful of gold teeth Pikey prized from their mouths, then climbed quietly back up to the curtained pergola on the terrace of the restaurant, where kebabs and scotch arrived as if nothing had happened. On finishing your meal, you checked the boot of the taxi. Schmidt was still there, tied and sweating, then returned to Shepheard's hotel for your second evening in what had been an eventful weekend's leave. In the morning, you settled the bill with the army letter of credit, reclaimed the dagger of Ra, and Pikey bought Major Kilburn a bottle of whiskey before setting off for base. Kilburn accepted the whiskey and the prisoner, then delivered grim news. While you were away, an enemy raid had struck camp. Your tent was wrecked, your bed slashed. Colonel Buchting had been sprung and was likely already dead at the hands of his own side. This presented a problem. He can't afford to have missions jeopardized by a Jagmanan team popping up trying to kill you in revenge for previous successes. Transferring you to another front prior to General Montgomery's arrival has been discussed, probably Norway. But first, your next mission, Operation Sandstorm. An Italian communication station, photographed from the air, likely holds an Enigma machine and codebooks that change weekly. Your task is to insert the day after the change, lift the codes, and leave nothing but footprints. One last desert raid before colder orders beckon from Norway.